On the news, INEC declares PDP's Duoye Dire as governor of Bayelsa State. SDP candidate Murtala Ajaka alleges rigging of Kogi election in favor of APC's Ododo. And NLC and TUC to begin nationwide strike by midnight on Monday. Hello, welcome to News Now. I am Simisola Adigun. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and governor of Bayelsa State, Duoye Dire, as winner of the just concluded governorship election in the state. Dire, who won in 6 out of 8 local government areas, polled a total of 175,196 votes to defeat 15 other candidates, including his closest rival, Timipre Silva of the All Progressives Congress, APC, who came second, having won in 2 local government areas and polled a total of 110,108 votes. The Labour Party candidate, Udengs Eradire, garnered 905 votes, emerging a distant third. Various reactions have trailed the conduct of the 2023 off-cycle elections in Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi State on November 11, 2023. Earlier, I spoke to electoral analyst and civic organization executive Temidayo Musa. I began by asking him his observation of the trends in the off-cycle election that took place over the weekend.
One of the first things that we observe is that INEC needs to really invest more into the operationalization. There's need to rework INEC's approach to organizing election, INEC's approach to handling election itself. Because in Bayelsa, some places, you see that INEC officials coming to polling units with already filled results sheets. And you ask yourself, how is this possible? Is it that the ad hoc staff themselves, are they been compromised? Or because it will take an entire team for them to come to a polling center to come and rework this thing. So there's need for INEC to revisit their operationalization. Then also is to also still talk about the role of security during election, because in some cases across the state you will realize that while electoral malpractice are being committed, while crimes are being committed, you see policemen, securities, they will just stand and be looking.
So what do you think of the turnout of the electorate in Bayelsa State?
About the turnouts, there are 2 ways to look at it. And this thing is funny. And you see you see the election in numbers, like maybe like the governor, I think someone having a 500,000 votes in this election. Then when it comes to presidential election, because you have to look at it vis-a-vis, are we seeing numbers based on manipulation of results, or are we seeing numbers based on maybe people actually came out to vote? I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So maybe you see a party scoring up to 500,000 votes in a particular election, let's say governorship. Then when it comes to presidency, they can amass that kind of numbers. I don't know if you follow what I'm saying. But if you look at turnouts in the East, there are some places that people didn't really bother come out in maybe Imo, Kogi, that even Bayelsa, people didn't really turn out because they feel like people actually come and there can be chaos and nobody really wants to die. And there are even places that people came out to come and vote, and they got to the polling units, and they are saying that the result sheets has already been filled before the start of the election. So if another election is going to take place in that kind of area, people want to come out again. So there's really a lot of gaps that so in terms of people turning out to vote, I think we can use this electoral exercise to measure how there's improvements in actually people coming out to vote.
That was electoral analyst and civic organization executive Temidayo Musa speaking on his observation on the conduct of the off-cycle elections held over the weekend. In Kogi State, the candidate of the Social Democratic Party in the governorship election in Kogi, Murtala Ajaka, has alleged that the election was rigged in favor of Usman Ododo of the All Progressives Congress (APC). Ajaka says going to court to contest the outcome of the poll is a waste of time, as the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) would come as a witness to defend the outcome of the poll. He claims figures were inflated in favor of the APC candidate and ally of the outgoing governor, Yahaya Bello.
I said this morning while addressing the press, I did acknowledge the effort of INEC in seeing that we have a hitch-free process. But in between the line from what we are saying, especially in the Central Senatorial District, and 3 local governments to be precise, Okene, Okehi, and Adavi, as attested by the leaders of other parties there. Before the election commenced, there is a result already. In Okene, Okehi, and Adavi. Same thing in Ogori Magogo. But the people of Ogori have come out to demonstrate, and they have written that there is no election anywhere there. So what we are saying, the INEC chairman to come down and look inward. The officers sent to these 3 local governments have compromised INEC. So, and they must find a way to discipline them. As for the rest part of the state, we are doing well. My expectation is victory. It's victory.
Joining me to discuss the election in Kogi State is Nelson Ekujimi, an election observer, also a political affairs analyst. Thank you for joining me, Mr. Ekujimi. Now, the candidate of the Social Democratic Party has alleged that the election was rigged, while his counterpart in the PDP is calling for total cancellation of the exercise because of alleged malpractice. Now, did you observe what has been alleged in the election?
That became me. And again, I think it is important for us when somebody alleges malpractice, he should be able to, to identify the type of malpractice that took place. Malpractice is a general word. How was the election, rigged? That is the question which you ask. Maybe the rigging could be in form of you losing an election, means that it was rigged. Maybe if you had been declared the winner, even though you came second and somebody scored higher than you, as required by law, that whoever comes first, whoever the highest number of local votes should be declared winner. Maybe you want you want it to be the reverse. So I don't understand what these candidates mean by the election was rigged. They need to come out and tell us in what way were the elections rigged.
All right, now, to your question, this candidate said vote buying, violence and tampering with electoral materials are some of the allegations, some of the forms of electoral malpractice that took place in Kogi State. Now, to what extent did all these affect the election, in your opinion?
Well, we all know that every politics is local. The issue of vote buying is something that, happened across board. You can't determine whether it is Party A that is buying votes or Party B or Party C until those that have been arrested by the security agencies are prosecuted. That is why we can know which party they are working for or which candidate. Then, talking about tampering with the electoral materials, there were reports of, results kits being filled, before the commencement of the election. And we are all aware that the electoral umpire suspended the elections in those 9 wards of the local government identified. There's no other place in the state that had that issue. And as we speak, in every other polling station, like I witnessed with some of my colleagues, party agents of more than 2 political parties were present, and they signed the result sheet and they got their copies as required by law, including security agencies. So I wonder how one could say when party agents are present, who are the representatives of the party, and you want to label that as rigging.
Okay, Mr. Ekujimi, I'm sorry to cut you short here. Now, how do you think INEC can improve the process, that's a voting process, going forward?
Well, the INEC can improve the process by doing a forensic audit of personnel that it recruits temporarily for exercises like this, because there's the likelihood that some of these temporary staff for elections, could be persons of questionable character. But looking at every other activity of INEC, we must give them a thumbs up. But with regards to its personnel, there's this INEC to do a background check to ensure that only persons of, unquestionable integrity are employed as ad hoc staff. Because we all know for conduct of elections, INEC has to employ ad hoc staff to be able to carry out that responsibility.
All right, election observer and political affairs analyst Nelson Okujumi, thank you very much for your insights. Still on the off-cycle elections, the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, has castigated the governing parties in Kogi, Imo and Bayelsa states for utilizing their incumbency to gain an unfair advantage in the recently concluded off-cycle gubernatorial elections. At a press briefing held in Abuja, the CDD Election Analysis Center reported the abuse of state resources and the intimidation of political opponents through the deployment of security forces by the ruling parties. Mufuliat Fijabi, a member of the group, highlighted these actions as significant factors that marred the integrity of the polls, emphasizing the challenge it poses to the general conduct of elections in the country.
The abuse of power of incumbency was also deployed to distort the party primary process of the governing parties in 2 of the 3 states, Bayelsa and Imo, where the incumbent governors sought re-election for a final second term, and in the 3rd state, Kogi, where the incumbent governor, unable to seek re-election because he was serving out his final non-renewable second time, used the full panoply of state power and resources to ensure the victory of his preferred candidate during the ruling party primary elections. The impact of the abuse of the power of incumbency, so illustrated, created an unfair level playing ground that gravely diminished the credibility of the off-cycle elections in the 3 states.
See, the beauty of democracy is that the more progress you make, the more attempts are made by those who don't want you to go further to take you back. That is what they are taking us back, because they see the progress we are making is undermining them if we push it through. And they are trying to reverse it. The introduction of technology was meant to sanitize. It sanitized the process to some extent. But between 2019 and now, they now saw how can we subvert this process that is taking power from us. And they therefore started it. So we must not allow them to push us backwards. We must fight to keep on pushing the struggle.
In response to the recent violent incident in Owerri, Imo State, the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, TUC, has declared their decision to commence a nationwide strike from Monday midnight. The strike is a direct response to the assault on NLC President Joe Ajaero and other leaders in Imo State on November the 1st, coupled with the existing unresolved labor issues in the region. The assault saw suspected state agents and security operatives attack the labor leaders, vandalizing their vehicles, inflicting injuries, and forcibly taking their possessions during a planned protest over pending labor matters. According to organized labor, the planned nationwide strike signifies the collective stand of the NLC and TUC.
So the Two Labour Center has resolved to stand firmly by the decision of the joint NEC that was held last week, Tuesday, that effective 001 hours on the 14th of November, we shall declare a nationwide strike. So effective tomorrow or midnight today, a nationwide strike is going to commence. All affiliates of Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, all affiliates of Nigeria Labour Congress, all state councils of the two centers, have been mobilized adequately. And this is going to be indefinite until government at all levels wake up to their responsibility.
We'll take a break here, but still to come, United Kingdom's Rishi Sunak sacks Suella Braverman, brings back Cameron in new reset. Stay with us for details of this story and others when we return. Welcome back. Let's take you through our top stories. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has declared the candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and Governor of Bayelsa State, Duoye Diri, the winner of the just concluded governorship election in the state. Diri, who won in 6 out of 8 local government areas, polled a total of 175,196 votes to defeat 15 other candidates, including his closest rival, Timepre Silva of the APC, who came second, having won in 2 local government areas and polled a total of 110,108 votes. Labour Party candidate Udengs Eradire garnered 905 votes, emerging a distant third. We also told you that in response to the recent violent incident in Owerri, the Imo State capital, the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC) have declared their decision to commence a nationwide strike from midnight on Monday. The strike is a direct response to the assault on NLC President Joe Ajaero and other leaders in Imo State on November the 1st, coupled with the existing unresolved labor issues in the region. According to organized labor, the planned nationwide strike signifies the collective stand of the NLC and TUC. Now, in case you missed any of our news bulletins, for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store and Huawei App Gallery. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. On business, President Bola Tinubu has assured investors in the Nigerian economy funds will come in and go out without hindrance. Speaking at the Nigeria-Saudi Investment Roundtable, the president declared that Nigeria is ready for business as a result of his administration's bold reforms since he became president. Details of the story in this report.
Nigeria's bilateral relations with Saudi Arabia dates back to the early years after her independence. Addressing business executives and Saudi Arabia government representatives at the Investment Roundtable, President Tinubu highlights some of the reforms that have taken place in the economy that should inspire confidence of investors.
I can assure you that free market economy is our goal. No red tapes, openness. You've heard, I am happy that you've recognized that. We have embarked on bold endeavors, reforms. From day one that I was inaugurated, as a subsidy in oil is gone, and is still gone. And we'll continue to drive our own economy.
He also emphasized that bottlenecks that are caused by corruption and bureaucracy are gone, as the team running the economy is prepared and productive.
You've enumerated very effectively, with a great understanding, that we are blessed with a large population. This population is full of can-do attitude. Young, vibrant, and well-educated. So the advantageous is killed. From this moment on, we are open for business.
On his part, the Trade and Investment Minister of Saudi, Khalid Al-Falih, while commending President Tinubu for his reforms, he pledges an action-oriented approach, promising concrete investment plans and establishments of a Nigeria-Saudi Business Council.
Two economies with great set of resources, with visionary leadership on both sides, who are set on this very transformative set of reforms that are quite compatible but complementary in nature, that bode so much promise for not only our countries and our people, but indeed for our regions, as we set the role model and the example of how economic development, prosperity, and putting the interests of the people first is going to result in the future.
At the Investors Roundtable, dozens of chief executive officers from several Saudi conglomerates specializing in construction, finance, new and traditional energy, healthcare, agriculture, electric power, mining, aviation, telecommunications, creative arts, and hospitality were present and made their exploratory pitches to President Tinubu on areas of tangible collaboration.
We'll take another break here. Stock Market Report is up next. The local bulls kicked off the new week on a negative note after declining by 0.34% as the market cap stood at the 38 trillion naira mark at the close of trading. In aggregate, 123 NGX listed equities participated in trading, ending on a positive side with 26 gainers against 19 losers. On the losing side, Japo Gold and Ventures came out last, ending the day's trading with a 1 naira 80 kobo per share, followed by Boa Cement with 98 naira 70 kobo. At the end of the first weekday of trading, 763 deals were exchanged by investors trading at 474 million, volume of shares valued at over 7 billion naira. In summary, Monday's data shows a 15% decline in volume, 39% improvement in turnover, and 21% improvement in deals. Over to our select global stocks. The international trade investors traded cautiously as market focus turned to U.S. inflation data as global interest rates peaked, giving all our select global stocks a positive trading day as all ended in the bulls. That's all on business and stock market report. On the global scene, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has made waves on the global stage by reinstating former leader David Cameron as foreign minister in a reshuffle prompted by the dismissal of Interior Minister Suella Braverman. Her criticism of the police had threatened Sunak's authority, leading to her removal. This move is seen as a significant shift for the Prime Minister, who faces a challenging landscape with his party trailing the Labour Party ahead of the anticipated upcoming elections. According to political analysts, the ministerial reshuffle precipitated by mounting criticism of Braverman from both opposition lawmakers and members of the Conservative Party provides Sunak the opportunity to align his government with his allies and remove underperforming ministers from their positions. Finally, on sports, in a poignant display of respect and love for the late Sir Bobby Charlton, thousands of fans lined the streets near Old Trafford to welcome his funeral cortege as it made its way to Manchester Cathedral for a private ceremony. Charlton, a revered figure in English football and a Manchester United icon, passed away on October 21 at the age of 1986. The solemn procession was attended by a host of notable personalities, including former United manager Alex Ferguson, ex-players England manager Gareth Southgate and Prince William. Sir Bobby Charlton's illustrious career included a pivotal role in England's 1966 World Cup winning team and a storied tenure at Manchester United, amassing 758 appearances and scoring 249 goals. Well, that's our bulletin at this time. Many thanks for staying with us.